In DC, for DC. DC Radio, 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov.
What's going on, everybody? How are you today? I hope you're blessed, because I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling honored and privileged to have this guest in the studio today. First and foremost, I want to give my shout outs to my whole entire DC Radio family, Mr. Max Myrick and Shane and all those here who make this happen. This is a wonderful day. Today I have an artist in here who literally, I don't just use the term loosely, my big brother. I literally have been listening to this gentleman for years. Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing, legendary Skip Pruitt. What's up, big brother?
Hey.
How are you today?
I'm good, Chooky. How you doing?
I'm good. What's crazy, I said, we were in the lobby, and we were talking for about like 15, 20 minutes. I wish everyone could hear even, the interview. Well, that wasn't even an interview. We were just chopping it up.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. So listen, everybody, I'm going to tell y'all a little bit from on paper who this man is, and then I will tell y'all in a moment about how important his responsibility and what he has done, how it's helped to shape my life in this industry and everything. But hailing from the birthplace of Motown, Detroit, Michigan, Skip has been playing the saxophone since the tender age of 6. Although influenced by such greats as John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, and Grover Washington, it was hearing his father, the late Benjamin Pruitt Sr., who inspired him to play the saxophone. One thing Skip loves about playing the saxophone is being able to reach into someone's soul and touch their life in a special way, just like you did mine, big brother. Of course, he's performed at a wide range of venues, from the Capitol Jazz Cruise, the Kennedy Center, to various international arenas, and even Carnegie Hall, live recording with the Winans. We're going to get to that in a moment. He's also enhanced the sounds of notable artists such as Luther Vandross, Tony Braxton, Phyllis Hyman, Casey of JoJo, El Varner, Avery Sunshine, Jennifer Holliday, Keith Washington, George Duke, Chuck Brown, Will Downey, Earl Clue, Phil Perry, Eric Benet, Joe, Layla Hathaway, and the list goes on. You all listen here. And then I can tell you on some of the amazing Kenny Garrett even said Skip Pruitt is one of the greats. And I am so honored to have you here chopping it up with me today, big brother.
It's an honor to be here, man.
So I'm gonna leave the paper alone. Big brother. So y'all heard a little bit, even in the bio, talking about perform with the Winans.
Right.
So I can tell you all 1,000%. When I was young, and I, as you all know, I came up in church, and my uncle will always, hit me to what's hot. You know what I'm saying? He was like, man, this, and I used to love, rest in peace, Uncle Baybra, it was so fun. Uncle Baybra had the Mercedes-Benz out of the family. So when we got in this car, back then he had the sheepskin seats and all. I said, oh man, this is real nice. Right. And then always he would be playing. I'd be like, what is this group? And then he played the Winans live at Carnegie Hall. And I'll never forget, I remember where we were. My mom, wow. It was me. I don't even think my brother and sister, if my brother and sister were born, they were very little. And I remember sitting in the back seat, and he had, the Bose system before it was popular. So you could hear everything. And one of the things that we talked about is how mentioning names, like even now, they don't mention names a lot. Yeah. But I remember, even before I met you, they was like, on saxophone, Benjamin Skip Pruitt. I was like, wow.
That's it.
And then I remember years later meeting you. So tell us a little bit of how you started, how you got here.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it started with my dad. My dad played saxophone and was an educator. Mm-hmm. So even as early as 2, I knew I wanted to play the saxophone.
Gotcha.
Right? I would see him, hear him around the house playing, and I knew this is what I wanted to do.
Gotcha.
So, of course, I was too little to start playing at 2.
Right.
He started me at 6, and I started, practicing and really learning the craft. And, fast forward, I started playing around Detroit.
Got it.
Probably around 14, like doing gigs with little bands, sneaking in the club, because I was too young, but, they would sneak me in, I'd play and do that sort of thing. And I played all through, of course, elementary school, high school, and went off to college. And I was on a music scholarship down at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Gotcha.
And then after I got out of college, I was teaching, and I met Kern Brantley. And, he was like, man, the Winans are looking for a saxophone player. Like, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, because I was a fan of the Winans as well.
Got it.
Like, I was playing in churches and doing, like, gospel shows around Detroit. And I would, like, sometimes even be an opening act for them, you know?
Got it.
At any rate, I went and auditioned, and I remember that it was Marvin at the audition.
Wow.
And Barry Hankerson, who was their manager at the time.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Barry Hankerson was their manager.
Was that Blackground Music?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, so Barry Hankerson was their manager, and I auditioned and got the assignment, and they were about to go on like an international tour. So that's how it all started. And that was probably like 1987.
Wow.
Yeah, so we started the tour and toured for a year before we actually did like the famous or infamous Carnegie Hall.
Oh my God.
Carnegie Hall record. Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
and so, and you being from Detroit, first of all, Detroit's meter of like the musicianship and the songwriters and stuff that come out of it. So how was that just being...
Oh, wow. See, so, I am young enough, but old enough to remember like the whole Motown era. Like I was a kid, but, that was always very deeply rooted in like the, Detroit music culture, So like Berry Gordy's sister lived across the street from my grandmother.
Wow.
And Marvin Gaye lived down the street from my grandmother.
Got it.
And let me see, Gladys Knight lived in my neighborhood. So like...
You couldn't run from it.
It was just like a part of, Detroit at the time, And so, and that's like on the, the soul R&B side. Well, like on the gospel side, the Winans were there. As a matter of fact, I used to work for the Clark sisters. They had a music academy. So, I mean, music and all kind of music was everywhere in Detroit. Like, you couldn't escape it, you know? Yeah,
but that's why, it has so much respect, too. Even people, when they come, even to the DMV, and they be like, they from Detroit. It was like, okay, this is worth a listen off the break. And then let alone be able to,
It's so rich.
Yeah. So, what's like the inspiration? I know you mentioned, your dad starting you off, in the music element in terms of playing the saxophone. But what is like a personal inspiration for you to do what you do?
Well, I, of course, like you said, my dad, but, I just kind of felt like if this is what I really want to do and really dedicate myself to, like, the craft, I owe it to, like, the forefathers of music.
Gotcha.
Like, to try to be, like, the best I could be at doing it and really represent as those that were, like, mentors and heroes to me in music. Right. I just kind of believe, like, if you're gonna do it in excellence. And like when I looked up to my heroes, like they were excellent. You know? Of course my dad, but like Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, and Grover Washington, which were some of like my early influences. They were excellent musicians, and so that just kind of inspired me. Not to mention that I'm very humbled by the gift that God gave me.
Absolutely.
So there's a responsibility there in and of itself, like to be representing it to the fullest and to the highest, so.
And when you like, what's also amazing is not only are you a superlative musician, but I love it when you like turn, it's like a show. It entertains the people. It's like you bring the people whatever song that it is that you do, whether it's up-tempo, mid-tempo, or, and I've had the pleasure of doing the past couple, performances with you. But just to see the response of the crowd on each different song, whether we go for something from 80s or a spiritual song or something, you bring them all into right where you are.
Yeah.
So, that's a hard thing to do, you know.
Yeah.
And I believe like it's you exude security in who you are behind your instrument and all of that stuff. And I think that it's just absolutely it seems normal for you. Now, like when you on the stage, like what are we doing in a cinema mood?
Right,
You know what I mean? Just all of that stuff. So, what does that do for you to be able to the response of the people? What does that do to you when you're on stage and when you're trying to, you know?
Well, you know, first of all, Chooky, I want to say that's like a great compliment coming from, you know, you're my little brother, but you're an excellent musician of yourself, and like, you know. Playing, you know, us playing together and you being able to observe that at the same time is very perceptive. I think for me, like it goes back to like some of my heroes in music, although they may have been, you know, virtuoso players, they were always able to connect.
Got you.
So, like, if you go back and you look at Dizzy Gillespie, like, he was, you know, one of the giants, one of the GOATs. But he was, like, also entertaining. There was a level of edutainment to what he did. Like, you were being educated, but you were being entertained at the same time.
Right.
Herbie Hancock, you know, monster player, but, like, you know, he plays all the changes, you know, but then he also did rock it.
Got it,
so he's able to connect with the audience. And my thing is, you know, you can be great, but most listeners may not understand or get your level of greatness. However, they will never forget how they felt. How the music made them feel. So I don't care if it's gospel.
Yeah, but write these hashtags down right now.
I don't care if it's gospel, if it's jazz, if it's pop, whatever it is, the music's essence comes through like the connection and how people feel about it.
Got it, yes.
Because you could be like very technically skilled, but if it's not connecting the audience,
right.
You know,
right. And you know, and you make it important even for those who are playing with you on stage. Like even like when we do our rehearsals or our sound checks and stuff like that. Like it's got to have the feeling of it. We just did not long ago. Right. You did an amazing feat where you did the soundtrack to Love Jones. And you know, we did that in the DMV at Bethesda Blues and Jazz. And I remember even at rehearsal, some of the songs that we were playing, you know, that's what rehearsal is for. He was like, it's something, it ain't, you know. And then, but we could feel even rehearsal where it went from it being, like you said, so technical to, okay, now it has a feeling to it. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's important.
You know, like when I saw like Gladys or like Aretha, you know, like I played with, and more for Aretha than with her, because I would go to her house and play. But the first time I heard her was at a studio session, because one of my friends played with her. So he said, man, you should come to the rehearsal.
Wow.
And the first time I ever heard her, I was sitting like this close to her, and she started playing and singing. The feeling that I got, like it's a difference. Like when it's just like the way they do it, and they're not just like going through the motion. Like there's a deep connection that comes from that music. And so, you know, it comes from the way that it's played. It comes from the dynamics. It comes from like the texture and just, you know, the different timbres of the music that are used. All those things make a difference. Now, when you listen to it, you just know it's a vibe or it feels a certain way. But there's a science behind that.
It definitely
and
is.
The greats know that. You know, I tell you who does an excellent job, like Miles Davis. Like he was very meticulous about, you know, the dynamics of the music, like just making it feel a certain way to evoke those emotions, you know. So
Big brother question. What do you like most about being an artist?
Wow. I like the opportunity to be able to connect with people and the freedom of expression. You know, I think as an artist, you have a great opportunity and responsibility, like to really touch people's lives through what you do. You know, I was sitting in the parking lot before I came in, and somebody sent me a message talking about them observing when I play certain songs, how people would respond.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, although I'm holding the instrument and playing it, I really consider myself to be like a vessel.
Absolutely.
Like God is actually giving me this. Like,
Gotcha.
I think when I play on my own, I'm okay.
Gotcha.
You know, I've practiced, you know, I've practiced the scales and, you know, the different progressions and things of that nature. But when it's like really special, it's when like God is like really moving through me.
Gotcha.
And then what comes out of the horn after that, you know?
Gotcha.
So having, you know, being in a place where you're chosen and you're playing under an anointing that touches people and like you see them react through what's coming, especially like from an instrument that doesn't like say the words.
Gotcha.
You know, some of the biggest compliments have come when people say, you know, when you play, I can hear the words. They're like, I can actually like, you know, and I'm like, well, that's really just the Holy Spirit, like, because like it doesn't speak in that sense, but it's such a connection that they're able to like hear something that they feel that's audible coming from the tone. So that's bigger than me.
See, look, this is about to be a whole other episode.
That's bigger than me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and that's very, very powerful. So even with that and being able to embrace that and embrace the reason behind what you do and what you're able to do, then on the flip side of that, what's the least thing that you like about being an artist?
Well, you know, being an artist comes with its plethora of challenges.
Yes, it does.
And I would say one of my pet peeves is when things aren't done in excellence or professional. You know, I think back like on one of my early experiences, like with when I was touring with Luther Vandross. He was the consummate professional.
Got you.
Everything was like first class, not necessarily, well, the accommodations were, but just like the attitude towards how you were dressed, towards how you rehearsed, towards how you performed, in reference to the feedback. He taped every show.
Gotcha.
I'll never forget, he used to have this little tape recorder. And he would tape every show, and he would have these headphones on, like the ones we're wearing now. And then the next day, he would have feedback at you know, sound check about things we needed to correct for that night.
Gotcha.
So he would like say, no, this part, listen to the record, this part goes like this. You know, and some, you know, there would be some rebuttals like, you know, well, I played on the album. Yeah, but you're not playing it like we recorded it. Like he, you know, so yeah.
I remember
it was a level of excellence. So
absolutely.
like when it's not that, I get very impatient and it's like, it's very annoying to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, but your professionalism, it also comes across with all things love still.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember just thinking about Michael Jackson, well, This Is It, when they were getting ready for the tour.
Absolutely.
And he was in rehearsal. He was like, oh, it's all love.
It's all love.
Yeah, that ain't the right change. But
Exactly. Because if I remember the quote, it was something, there was like a question about, you know, how a keyboard part went. And I believe the keyboard made a reference to like, well, if you came to if you came to sound checks, you know, then we would kind of know. He was pretty much in love. If you just like played it like I wrote it, you'd be fine. Something like that. Yeah, it's like in love. It's, you know what? I was an educator for 20 years. So in teaching children, you know, our job is not only to educate them, but like to kind of coach them, and you do it with love. Like you want to encourage them, but correct them at the same time. You don't want to break them down. You don't want to discourage. You want to, like, you know, hey, I appreciate your effort, but this is how I like to see you do it. This might really help you. Like, you know, it's better that way.
So, Big Brother Skip, so, of course, we got some great music of yours. Oh, man. Some of your renditions of things. So, a while back, you did a song called Let Me Hold You.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where, you know, can you give us a little preface to,
you know what?
What's the concept?
Let Me Hold You was, well, here's the thing. You know, I am not a singer per se.
Right.
Although I may have a couple of songs in me.
That's right. That's right.
And, I would write a couple of things that I would like to sing just to kind of have some variety, just to kind of, I would call myself a frustrated singer.
I know that's right.
Like a lot of my idols in music are singers.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So when I play, I'm trying to really emulate a singer.
Right.
Especially when I'm playing ballads. You want to have that. So with that being said, I was taking a stab. You know what? I'd love to sing a song.
Right.
Well, let me see if I could write something that would feature, my limited range, but still have a vibe and sound good, right?
I got you.
And so that's where, that song came to be. And I said, well, you know what? I kind of feel this as a duet. So I'm like, well, I wanted to have like this, love vibe, but like you out on the beach.
Right.
You're kind of like chilling. And, so that's where the production and the whole like concept came from.
Oh, my goodness. It's a great song, too.
Yeah.
So we're about to check it out right here, listening to Let Me Hold You. I'm in here chopping it up with the amazing, my big brother, Skip Pruitt. And you're listening to what? Chopping It Up with Chook here on DC Radio.
Let me hold you in my arms forever. And as we feel the tide rolling, there's a feeling deep within. I can't let go as I look into your eyes. In a trance, I'm hypnotized by your magic. Don't you know what this means? This can't be a dream. So here we go.
Let me hold you
like a sweet melody.
Let me hold you.
This is meant to be.
Let me hold you.
Oh, baby.
Let me walk along the beach without wet sandy feet. Hand in hand. It feels so good to me. Oh, baby, can't you see? This is heaven.
This is heaven. Oh, baby.
Oh,
'cause you mean so much to me.
let me hold you. Baby, oh, baby, can't you see? Let me hold you. Hey,
This was meant to be.
hold you. Oh, baby, let me hold
Let me
you.
hold
Let
you.
me hold you.
Baby, come my way. Baby, please, please, please stay. You gotta stay with me.
I'm gonna stay with you.
Let me
Stay
hold
with
you, yeah. wanna feel your body next to mine. Let me hold you.
Hold me.
Yeah, come on, baby. Like a sweet melody. This was meant to be, baby. Baby, I can hear your symphony. I wanna hold you. Hold you, baby. Yeah, yeah.
Wowee. Let me hold you. Big brother Skip Pruitt.
Hey.
And listen, a lot of us, like we got people in the, even in the room, you know, clapping. What is amazing is that we see you all the time, or a lot of the time, you know, playing the saxophone,
Right.
and all that stuff. But it's really an amazing thing to like hear, you know, you venture out into like different stuff. And you said this was what, that was 2002?
Yeah, like 2002.
2002. But what's crazy is I hear a little of the Winans influence.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know, like I said, I was a fan of the Winans.
Gotcha.
And I'll tell you a secret. Like, every artist I've ever like played with,
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like, man, like, give me something. Like, teach me, like, if it's one thing you could tell me or teach me, what would it be? You know? And they will always give me a jewel.
Wow.
Right? So like Marvin Winans, he was like, well, anybody can sing a hit. Like if it's a hit song, anybody can sing. It doesn't take like a great singer to sing it. Right? And Ronald Winans, you know, rest in peace.
You took the words out. I said, I hit some of that Ronald in
like
there
one
too.
time I said, man, give me a singing lesson.
Wow.
And he was like, okay. I'm trying to think what he told me because it was like one of the signature Winan moves.
Right.
And like he showed me, like, no, you have to sing it like this. It has to,
Right.
So I would try to emulate that. So
I've definitely
you
heard
hear
it.
that influence because like I was like trying to copy
You
them.
took
Look,
the-
it's like, hey,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
hear great cats
Yeah.
and you have access to
That's
them,
right.
like you, hey,
I was
you
going
know,
to say,
what are you supposed to do?
I was going to say,
you know?
how could you be around them and not pick up some of the
Oh,
stuff?
please.
And you even told like Kern, like Leonard Brantley and his brother Valdez.
Yeah,
I was like,
absolutely.
still till this day.
Yeah, they still doing it.
I mean,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and these cats have like produced and been music director for everybody. Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
When I tell you, the list goes on.
Yeah,
So, Big Brother. So, question: what is one of the important things that need to be remembered when we have a platform? Because we do have like you said, we do have a responsibility to keeping the integrity of the music.
Right.
And we know that we're also building a chemistry with the audience and all of that stuff. Why is that platform so important? And is in terms of, you know, the importance of it, like to value it.
Sure.
You know, some people, you know, they get platforms, and you know, we see too much in the media even today that people have a major platform and they abuse it and things of that nature. So
yeah. Well, you know, I look at it as like a major responsibility in that everybody doesn't have a platform, right? So, you know, for whatever reasons you have a platform or you're allowed that opportunity, there's a responsibility to that to like, you know, educate, to move the platform forward, to impart knowledge on the youth because that's going to like really carry on, you know, not only your legacy but the music to keep it going, you know. So I just think, you know, to whom much is given, much is required.
That's
you
right.
know, and it's just like, you know, if you got a platform, like, okay, it's great. You blessed with a platform. What are you going to do with it, though?
Gotcha.
How are you going to make a difference?
Gotcha. And you know what?
You know,
and you hit the nail on the head, because one of the other things I want to ask you is, I said, how do you stay so current? You like, no, like you and Big Sis, like y'all are staying timeless.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You know what? I learned a secret from Miles Davis. musically, I'm gonna be the oldest one on stage. Miles Davis, like, I want a young band.
Right.
That's one thing. Like, you got to be around youth. You know?
Got you.
Look, like I said, I was an educator for 20 years. Like, as much as it would drive me crazy sometimes, I was connected to like the youth, and they gonna keep you young. Either you gonna be young and hip, or you gonna die trying. Right? But really, I try to stay relevant and current. Just I don't try to, I'm an elder statesman, and I embrace that.
I got you.
But I like to keep musically. I like to keep my ears tuned to the youth, because I just kind of feel like the kids, they know what the next thing is.
Yeah.
Now you can impart that wisdom. You can impart, show them a lot of things musically, how it was done. But what's coming next, comes from them.
Gotcha.
And technology.
Gotcha.
And fashion.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
So even like you said, fashion was and you make sure that you always keep, like you said, moving the platform forward, from the musical element, from the musical perspective, like when we're on stage, you always make sure that we're playing music that covers the whole gamut from old to young. Yeah. But then also, one thing that I, try to share with people, and this, like I said, and this show is about bringing in people like yourself, that if we could learn something from your journey moving forward, whoever wants to get into this, but presentation. Oh, you always have us on point. You always are on point. I saw a clip somebody put up the other day when we were in all white at some outside event.
Oh, yeah. That was at Glen Arden, Church of Glen. That was at Glen Arden.
There was. Look, I didn't even remember. I was I was looking at us, and I was like, who looks sharp, Right. But the importance of that, I say, I call them sometimes the gig rules.
Right.
And one of the gig rules, is, and y'all get this for free, hashtag, the difference between a song list and a set list.
Right.
Go do your homework.
Right.
All right. A song list is a list of songs that everybody's familiar with in the band that we could pull from. A set list is the list of songs in the order that we're going to perform them.
Absolutely.
Another gig rule is, I said, if it's whatever the gig calls for, be on point with the attire.
Absolutely.
If you're doing hip hop, I said, if you got on white tennis shoes, wipe them down, take some Glass Plus or something. But what is the importance? Because your presentation is always on point. So like I told you all before, when I grew up, I was listening to the Winans live at Carnegie Hall, heard his name. It was years before I met you. And we were talking about it the other day. I said, I can't remember the location. All I knew was the doors open, and Skip, you and Sister Michelle, y'all walked in. I said, who is this? That was like, y'all were looking all the way flying. They was like, that's Skip Pruitt. And it just brought wow. Right. He was, with them. Sister, okay, that makes sense. So what is the importance of
man, my dad taught me, if you're going to be a professional, you have to look the part. You have to be early, not on time.
That's right.
Because if you're on time, you're late.
That's right.
You have to be early. You have to be dressed professionally and appropriately.
Gotcha.
And you have to conduct yourself in a certain manner. He's like, if you do those things, you'll always work. The other part of that to me is people are paying their hard-earned money to come to see you.
Got it.
And I respect that. I don't care if it's $5 or if it's $50. They took time out of their day. They hired babysitters.
Wow.
They made accommodations.
Wow.
They're, using their cars or some form of transportation. They've worked all week, and your job is to give them this level of professionalism and excellence.
That's wisdom.
I mean, they paid their money. They don't have to come see you.
That's right.
And we talked about our last show that we did when we did Bethesda Jazz and Blues, the Love Shows. Well, it was December 29th.
Got it.
And it was a great house. The Roots were in town. Fantasia was in town.
Sure was.
It was December 29th, so people were like, am I going to go see Skip Pruitt? Am I going to save this money and wait for New Year's Eve and go out?
Gotcha.
So if they're going to, take time out of their, their schedules to come see you, give them give the people what they want.
That's it.
They
That's
want
it.
excellence. They want to be entertained. They want you to look like the money that they're spending. So it's not meeting their expectation, it's exceeding the expectation.
When I tell you, I continue to learn from you. This is no joke. It just happens that we all are in class. If you're listening, if you're watching this, we're all in class. That is so important. I remember some years ago, we were trying to even remember the year that it was, but had an opportunity to actually, we played on a song together. Song that you wrote.
Oh, yeah.
So stay with me.
Stay with me, yeah. That's right.
What was the backdrop behind that?
Wow, you know what? Stay With Me was one of the first songs that I wrote. And I wrote it at a time that I wasn't like, being transparent, maybe living my best life, right?
Gotcha.
And I was pretty much like, like, stay with me.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lord, stay with me.
Yeah.
Like, my girl at the time stayed with me. Like,
right.
We go through like growth spurts. I mean, growth times, like where we're, we may not be our best selves, like, but you're still a good person at heart.
That's right.
You just jacked up.
Right.
And it was kind of like, stay with me. That.
Listen, you all.
That it wasn't real deep. It was just
But you know what? So it's different, like, to be able to come in and perform on the song in the studio, but then hearing the backdrop.
Yeah.
I mean, we're about to listen to it. This was some years ago, but nonetheless, I was like, then it has a whole different meaning to me now. Hearing from how you came up with this. So listen, y'all, we're going to take a listen to Stay With Me right here on Choppin' It Up with Chook on DC Radio. Stay with me, Big Brother Skip Pruitt.
Hey.
So, Big Brother, you know I couldn't have you come on the show, and we don't take an opportunity to do a rendition of a song together here on Choppin' It Up with Chook.
Of course.
So I know we were talking a little earlier, so you always do an amazing rendition of Total Praise.
Okay.
And I said, what better time than now?
Okay.
myself together now. Wow,
Amen.
That'll take a whole different place. I'm lost for words, big brother.
Oh, bless you,
Lost
man.
for words.
Bless you.
So listen, you all, this is, like I said, an amazing man on and off this stage. And you have been so humble. You share so many gems with us, just like, and you do it effortlessly. And it's just like pure conversation. It's pure conversation that you just have with us, and we just learn so much. And I'm honored to be in the same room. I'm honored that we have made that connection. I got a question. So, with everything that you have attained and your resume, like we say, our resume is great, but we want to make sure that our calendar is current.
Absolutely.
So you got some stuff even coming up very, very soon.
Oh yeah.
That I want everyone to know about.
Well, I thank you for asking.
Yes, indeed.
I am, very grateful that we're working on a tribute to Grover Washington. As I mentioned earlier, that was one of my earlier influences. Mm-hmm. So on March 22nd, Sunday, 8:30, we'll be at Bethesda Jazz and Blues. It'll be myself, Brian Lanier, and Art Sherrod, right? So it's going to be the three of us that are going to pay tribute to the music of Grover Washington. So it's going to be awesome.
Good gracious.
It's going to be awesome. We have some, great guys, great players. And, of course, we'll be playing like the great music of Grover Washington. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to that.
I'm going to listen.
Really, really, really practicing.
Right.
To get back on my Grover.
Got you.
So yeah.
So Big Brother Skip. So I know it's hard, but what's 3 songs that you could just choose? 3 songs that have impacted your life over the years?
My goodness. 3 songs. You know what? I would have to say Total Praise is one of them.
Gotcha.
I don't even know how I started playing Total Praise, but at any rate, that's one of them.
Okay.
And another one would probably be, I would have to say, Tomorrow by the Winans.
Absolutely.
Because that was one of the songs that I was kind of like featured on very early, that people started like kind of knowing who I was.
Got it.
And I would have to say, Love Won't Let Me Wait. I say that because, the first big mega tour artist was when I did like the Luther Vandross gig, and that was the song I was featured on. So like the first time I ever walked out,
got it.
And it was like 30,000. It was like, that was the song. So it's kind of one of those benchmark moments for me, if you will.
Gotcha. Now, how can everyone, those listening, those watching, how can they stay in contact with you on social media and everything?
Yes. So Skip Pruitt on IG, Skip Pruitt on Facebook, Skip Pruitt on Twitter. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Listen, and not only that, like I said, y'all need to listen back to this episode, rewind and all that stuff. There's so many wonderful gems. I'm still here basking on what you said about when I was asking about the importance of like the platform. You said, like, even on our break time, when I tell you that impacted me, because you all are even taking time now out of your schedule to listen to, this interview, Chopping It Up with Chook. You all take time to, support, and I really, really appreciate that. And we always want to make sure that we're being as professional and bringing, like I said, gems to the table to help you in your journey.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I always promise to make sure that I bring in people that not only will help to impact you all's lives, but it's been a blessing because my life has been impacted first. And I am so appreciative to that point. And before we leave today, as we go off, Big Brother Skip, you did a rendition of Always and Forever. And so that's what we're going to close the show out today. I want to thank big brother Skip Pruitt. You all follow him. You all look at these engagements that he's got coming up. Some of these engagements you might see yours truly there with him as well. So y'all stay on the lookout and all of that good stuff. And we will always promise to make sure that we continue to bring you great music and great interviews here on Chopping It Up with Chook, DC Radio. Be blessed.
In DC, for DC. DC Radio, 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov.